welcome to my channel, and for my amazing subscribers, welcome back. As promised on last week's video, today I'm going to talk about the tool that helps you examine your relationships, called the Relationships Wheel of Life. And I'm again referring to the version developed by the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, or iPEC for short. So before delving into the 8 areas of the wheel, it's important to mention that the most important relationship to nurture is the one with yourself. When you have a sense of wholeness in yourself, where you don't need someone else to complete you, then you can fully enjoy the relationships with others. So instead of coming from a place of lack or need, you can realize that your relationships are gifts that help you to learn how to relate to others in a more empowering way. There's an old saying that I like to refer to about relationships, both romantic and platonic, which is that each person comes into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Some relationships may only last for a single reason. A simple example would be, maybe a person who noticed that you dropped your keys in the grocery store and picks them up for you. That would be for a simple reason, and you might never see that person again. Now, a more profound reason might be the person who offers a kidney for someone who needs a transplant. Or maybe it's a friend that you went to school with. That might be for a season. Or lastly, those treasured people, either friends or family members, who are in your world for a lifetime. Another interesting thing to be aware of is that your true essence or spirit or soul, whatever you want to refer to it as, attracts many different types of relationships in order for you to grow as a person, even the relationships that you don't like very much. So it's important to remember that each person we encounter in our lives is both our teacher and our student. You learn from them and they learn from you, regardless whether we perceive them to be bad or good relationships. So ask yourself, what's your definition of a relationship and where was that idea created? Now, without further ado, let's get to the 8 aspects of relationships. Okay, they are as follows. The first is trust. This is the cornerstone of every relationship. How much do you trust the other person, and how much does the other person trust you? Second, boundaries. How well does each person respect the other's boundaries? Third, communication. How would you rate your ability to communicate with each other? Fourth, mutual support. How much do you support each other in a balanced way? Fifth, friendship. How much do you consider this person a true friend? Sixth, sexuality. If you're assessing a romantic relationship, then you would rate this based on how much chemistry do you feel there is in this area. 7, honesty. Of course, this certainly goes hand in hand with trust. How honest are each of you with the other? 8th, and lastly, intimacy. How comfortable are you sharing your vulnerability with each other? So just like we did last week, take a moment to rate on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, how the relationship that you're assessing, be it romantic or not, is stacking up in each of those areas. Now, once you've rated each area, look at the areas where you scored more than a 6 and celebrate those areas of your relationship. Sometimes we can tend to kind of take our closest relationships for granted. Next, take a look at the areas that scored less than a 7 and ask yourself why that might be. This is the part where you need to be honest with yourself. Now, if there are more than 3 areas with a score below a 6, you might want to ask yourself why you're in the relationship with that person. This may be tough, but it's necessary, as life's too short to spend time in unhealthy relationships. And remember, all relationship experiences, perceived as good or bad, are opportunities for growth. So that's all for this week. Please feel free to comment and request any other areas of the big wheel of life, which I covered in my February 4th video, besides career and relationships that I've already covered, that you might like to hear more about. I'd be happy to cover one of those on our call next Thursday. So thank you for listening. I wish you peace, love, and joy. And as always, keep the faith and let your light shine.